Hello and good morning. I got my coffee here. It's 11 a.m. where I'm at, and I'm sculpting an Angelic belly dancer. Kind of different than my usual, kind of an interesting cross there. And on top of that, she's going to have a sledgehammer. As far as her weapon, I'll probably do more of like a fantasy styled, like large hammer, that kind of thing, instead of like a sledgehammer. This is another lovely Patreon request from my legendary tier. If you're interested in that and picking what I sculpt next, the link is in the chat right now pinned. Woke up kind of feeling a little off today, a little sticky, but I got my coffee, I got my cozy vibes, and I think it's gonna be a good stream still. I might not finish the model. If I start feeling a little too under the weather, I might cut the stream a little early. But as of now, I'm feeling fine, sitting here, comfortable. I see Painted Dragon Oliver already here. Hello, hello. And then one last super important update before we start, and that is the penguin I was crocheting and talked about yesterday. This is his progress. I was able to close the loop yesterday and stuff him. So now I'm gonna start making the belly and beak and whatnot. I've crocheted before, but I've only crocheted like straight lines, so scarves. So this has been a really fun challenge. All right, where do I put him? I'll put him right here. There we go. All right. So I have a different base mesh here. I got this prepared off stream. This is actually the kind of base mesh I use for my other like side business, Spicy Art. So it's my pinup base. The guy that requested this on my main page on M3DM specifically requested, he was like, hey, I love you made this a Spicy Arts model. And I'm like, well, those are different businesses, but what I'll do is I'm gonna make two versions of this model, one for M3DM, which is going to have the sledgehammer, and then my Spicy Arts, more traditional pinup, will not have a sledgehammer. And then, let's see, Sai says, penguin's looking cute. Thank you, it looks quite penguin. And Oliver asks, is that kit from a Wooble? Yes. Yes, it is. I highly recommend it. It was very fun and very easy to follow. There's a lot cheaper kits out there. I think the one that I bought was like $30, which is like kind of pricey. I saw ones in there that were like 15, but it was so much easier to follow, and I'm really happy with it. Okay. All right, well, let's get started. So this is the base mesh I have so far, and I'm gonna kind of just work on this from the top down. So as you can tell, this base mesh that I use is a lot softer than the one that I use for my main M3DM. If I'm talking too quietly, let me know. I tend to like mumble and soften up, but I'm not feeling super well. I mentally feel well. I'm just a little achy and crampy. All right. And then yeah, I have these big, like chunky sculpted eyelashes, and they actually 3D print quite well. I'm not gonna actually worry about her face too much because I'm gonna be covering it with like a traditional like belly dancer veil. But for her hair, I do want to move this around just a touch because I want to have some like, not like a headdress, but some like beads and decorations. So I might just get started on that right now. I have a jewelry chain brush that I might use as a base here. Oliver says, nice, I did the rainbow T-Rex. Good stuff, right, right? I agree. All right, so when you're using a curve brush, if you find that it's not behaving quite the way that you want to, there's a couple things you can do to adjust that. So in this case, I'm wrapping around her hair. It'd probably be easier if I just do it straight on her head and then I move it off of her head. So I'm gonna duplicate the body and then delete lower subdivision levels because curve brushes don't work if you have multiple subdivision levels. Now that I have that, I can just grab my point. I also like to not have symmetry turned on when I use a curve brush. I find it tends to make it mad. There we go. Oh, and before I get too far, let's go ahead and put our stamp over here. I love having this little like progress marker. So that's where we're starting the stream with. I'm going to be using my move brush at a pretty high Z intensity, so I'm not deforming these little chains too much, since these chains shouldn't be squishy in material. You have to be a little bit more careful when you move them around. Here we go. I kind of like that she has some hair falling in front of it and some of it tucked behind. Instead of mirror and weld, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate and mirror, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Once ZBrush is done auto-saving. There we go. Duplicate and mirror. I did that because I won't get an artifact in the center here, and instead I can manually grab one of these little chains and copy and link it myself. It's just a nicer touch and it doesn't look all clipped. There we are. I like that. And then we'll do another chain that comes down the back. I'm probably gonna put a little jewel right here anyway, but I like knowing that the chains actually intersect the way they're supposed to. There we are. Very nice. I might have the veil wrap around here and all of it link up, but as of now, we're just kind of in the block out phase. Now I'm going to merge these two strands together, duplicate the whole thing, and I'm going to see if a second layer would look good. The size of the chain is dictated by the size of my brush. So I'm at around 25 right now, so you'll see it's larger. There we go. It doesn't quite reach all the way around, which is fine. That's because these two pieces here aren't 100% symmetrical. So I'll go ahead and bridge that gap manually. Only one link off, so it's a pretty easy adjustment. There we are. The reason my autosaves are kind of sluggish right now is because I have these other tools open that have the rest of my asset library. So I'll need to go in there and either delete them or grab what I want. All right, this definitely doesn't need to be as long as it is. So I'm gonna shorten this chain up. There we are. There we go. It's looking very pretty. Now I'm gonna start adding a couple gems. This little headpiece is really gonna kind of set the tone and the level of detail for the rest of the model as I keep working my way down. I think a pear-shaped gem would be perfect right here. My Patreon supporter that put in this request also mentioned that she'll have a gem in her belly button as well. There we are. All right, I polygrouped each one of these chains by themselves, and I'm going to merge them all together into one headpiece. There we go. So this is a little piece that we made. Very nice. Sai says, about how long is your Patreon mini request list? Oh goodness, at this point we're booked all the way out to January. So I have about 70. I have a little like skip the line ticket though, so if you pay 20 bucks, I call them priority tickets, I make it next. For the most part, people that put in requests either put them in for their big bad evil guy at the end of their campaign, so they have like months to wait, but every now and then they have an encounter that's coming up like in like this weekend or something, and so people will use that priority ticket, and there we go. Another funny thing about the priority tickets, you don't have, if you buy a priority ticket, you don't have to spend it on yourself. I've had people that are super generous where if someone will like put in Discord like, hey, like I really need this done, if anyone else does, like maybe we can go half and half. I've seen people do that before. And I've also seen people that are just friends in my Discord buy tickets for other people. Very, very sweet. I'm just happy to make requests either way. I don't really mind what order I do them in. Excuse me. All right, now I'm looking at my asset library here quickly to see if there's any pieces I want. This would definitely suit well for this belly dancer aesthetic, but I don't know, I think I might want to just make it from scratch. I do like this a lot, actually. Very, very on theme for with what I'm making. I might need to use this. I'll grab that, and then I might use this, or I might make a different top. Just throw that up there for now. And I don't expect there to be any other pieces that suit super well here. Excuse me. Again, I was feeling pretty under the weather this morning. Oops, still did my like chores, took care of the horse, all that good stuff. Just did it, it just took me a lot longer. I will say sitting here sculpting, sipping some coffee, I'm starting to feel better. Not sure if I'll finish this on stream like I normally do, but I imagine I'll get pretty close. Oh, and also in a very exciting news, Dragon Age Valguard comes out tomorrow. Very, very excited. And that means I will not be streaming on Thursday or Friday like I normally do. Yeah, these are the pants that went with that bra that I just appended. I'm not going to use these though, even though they're really cute. I want a different type of skirt for her. A more traditional belly dancer attire, so she's going to have that low-waisted belt with a bunch of those little gems on them. And then I don't know if I have shoes in any of these references, or if belly dancers wear shoes. I don't think so. I might give her sandals at the end. We'll kind of see where we end up. So I've had people watch my streams before in the past, and they're like, hey, like you grab like one or two assets from your library, is that really worth maintaining it? Yes, it's still very worth it. All right, I'm gonna hide this base mesh I was working on, and instead fit this other top. So obviously none of my meshes fit perfect across each other because every body I sculpt is a little different. So I'm just very careful when I use my move brush. Also, I think these straps come off. They do. So I'll go ahead and split those separately so that way they're not getting too deformed as I work on the rest of this mesh. There we are. I'm gonna hide her hair as well. I do pretty well taking days off when I need them. I knew what model I was sculpting today, and I knew it wouldn't be like too intensive and hanging out and just relaxing, kind of like slowly putting this model together. It sounded like a much better time than sitting in bed feeling sorry for myself. So here I am. Oh, another exciting thing is that later today I bought the collector's edition for Dragon Age Valgard. I don't normally do that. I've only done that once before, and that was for Horizon Zero Dawn because they have this big ol', or no, Forbidden West. I can't call it a figurine because it's so big, but it is the like elephant mech, and it's like literally this big. Oh, maybe I'll bring it on stream next time. But usually I'm not like a collector figurine person, despite doing this for a living. But that one was too good to pass up. And then so was Dragon Age. And I also bought the art book. I'm very excited. I mean, I've had like a little savings fund just for this release, honestly, so. I don't know why I'm trying to defend my financial choices to strangers. It just feels silly because like you see that number go up, and I'm like, there's 100, there's 200. I'm like, okay, this is my thing. That's okay. Rat Girl is back. Hello and welcome. Oh, I'm jealous of the base messages. I'm excited to one day have a load of my own. Yeah, it takes a long time, but just keep on at it. What's also kind of frustrating about building an asset library is as you create it, you're still getting better. So you'll remember like this really awesome asset you saved for yourself, and you'll import it for a future project, and then you'll be like, oh, I can just sculpt this from scratch but better. And I sculpt it from scratch but better. It's all worth it. It's all part of the process. All right, I don't want these little danglies. I'm gonna do a different design. But I like the structure of the bra itself. I'm undecided if it's gonna be more like these triangular cups or what. So unsurprising, because I also sculpt pinup models, but I'm very, very picky about with my students and whenever they're sculpting women and boob shape. They're teardrops. They're not half circles, guys. And obviously everyone's learning. Like I've done it too, but you'll see me spend a lot of time fidgeting right here to make sure it looks the way I want it to. I think having two straps would be really cute too. So I have these lower ones, and then I'm either gonna have some that are even lower or higher up. I think I'm gonna do higher up. I should also give her hair again. There we are. Rackle mentioned, yeah, that's the thing I'm struggling with most. Yeah, I can see that. There we go, that's really pretty. I definitely want to put something around her neck. Maybe I'll do another like body chain that goes from like a little necklace, and maybe they'll come down around her hips as well. Hey, Pat Name Princess here. I made it. Hey everyone. Hi. Today I'm sculpting an Angelic belly dancer. It's a Patreon request, but they also are aware and they like my spicy arts work a lot, so I'm actually doing it in my spicy art style. That's why the face and the base mesh is a little bit different. So I'll be making two versions of this model. One that's going to be for normal M3DM, and then a spicier version. It's really not going to be spicier, it's just not going to have a sledgehammer. That's the weapon that he requested. Again though, it won't be like a typical sledgehammer that looks modern. It's going to be more like a Nordic inscribed great hammer. Alright, I have two base meshes right here because I deleted one underneath. I did that because it's easier to, you can't use curve brushes on meshes that have multiple subdivision levels. You can freeze subdivision levels, but I never trust that. I'm sure it works just fine. It's just not something that I use. All right, one of like the best things about belly dancers and the way they wear their skirts reminds me of like 1920s like flappers, very low waistline. And then I'm gonna have a bunch of, I'm probably gonna make a custom tassel brush so I can have all these little like jewels and coins that are hanging off. And then Rack Girl says, no, I'd asked about file archival / management. Oh yeah, that can be tricky and a mess too. That's why I find having like the visual Z tool where I pinned a bunch of my assets in that, it's a little bit easier, but it is tricky. And then Pain Dragon said, spicy arts. Oh my. And then they also agreed, never trust the freeze function. It's evil witchcraft. Okay, good. I'm glad that you say that because I was suspicious of it. Also, oh my gosh, joining your Discord and looking at your work was definitely, I mean, I only really saw the frog folk. I haven't properly stalked you yet. But you are an incredible artist. Oh my goodness, your like understanding of form and anatomy is very, very clear. I mean, you mentioned that you had sculpted in traditional medium for a long time, and it definitely shows. I'm excited to see more of your work and kind of like hang out and lurk and then maybe ask you questions and tips every now and then. I also saw that in your Discord you share free meshes every now and then of things that you've made, which I think is really, really cool and inspired me. I'm like, I should be doing that more too. Especially because I already have a bunch of these meshes ready to go, and some of them are actually well constructed. The reason why a lot of them aren't very well constructed is because I didn't export them as I was creating them. I would finish a model entirely, and then after the fact, I made my asset library years down the road. So I would kind of like chop up old models that had already been decimated and merged. So that's kind of where some of that problem lies. I'm probably gonna play with fabric simulation quite a bit with this. And that's more so because I'm just kind of taking it easy today. I think this should be two separate pieces. This is gonna become an issue later on. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I don't like how much of that mesh it ate. That's okay. I will take this piece. There we are. And this piece. I'll just delete it. So I have, that's gonna make that a little easier to work with. Because the belt really needs to be its own piece. So I'm gonna go to my base mesh here that has no subdivision levels. Actually, I do want subdivision levels. I didn't realize I hadn't kept the lowest one on there. All right, and this is gonna be that low-waisted belt. And the Painted Dragon says, currently working on the Frogkin Barbarian, and it is a contrast to your very feminine Angelic character. Oh, absolutely. I'd like to think that they're friends. Batgirl says, I'm often guilty of just smashing STLs together, spushing them around with a grab brush and remeshing and praying. Oh yeah, yep, that sounds like my early days, 100%. And the only reason why I don't still do that is because, again, I made this my living, and I was like, I should maybe do better if I'm going to sell these. For a long time, I was like, hey, I print them. I know they print. But I was like, no, I can do better. There we go. It's not as fun of a shape here, but having these as distinct pieces, it's going to give me a lot more flexibility. Oliver asks, did you start directly sculpting with ZBrush, or did you try Blender or others first? I first started off in Sculptress, which you really can't do a ton with. I don't think Sculptress is even available on the internet anymore. Sculptress was a free software provided by Pixelogic, who used to own ZBrush, and it just had like a couple brushes, no subtools, nothing like that. It's pretty much the equivalent of ZBrush Core Mini that's out now. And then I did briefly download Blender and I did not like it. I am 100% a Blender snob, and not for any good reason. It's a great tool. I know you can do a ton with it. I just didn't like it. And then Rat Girl is talking to Pain Dragon, asking, have you considered hot pinup Frogkin Barbarian? Have you? Very good question. Oh, that perked me up a little bit. There we go, that top is fitting a little better. I like this little detail I have here. I want to sculpt the anatomy and fix it up a little bit more, but I'm not sure how angry YouTube will get at nudity, so maybe I'll do that off stream. Gosh, this model is very pretty. This is gonna be fun. All right, I'm gonna use a trick here to use a curve brush to wrap around her neck. It works about half the time. The way I'm doing this is I'm drawing a line and I'm holding shift on my keyboard, bam, and it did a nice little line. When it works, and when it doesn't work at all. I'm gonna do the same kind of line on her waist. And I might just leave those there for right now because I'm not 100% sure what else I want to do with that yet. I'm going to close off the loop first. And by doing that, I'm just grabbing a loop manually and then scooting it over. There we go. Very nice. Doing the same thing with this lower waist loop as well. I forgot how to put links together with this one. I don't... What? Why does that one look so much more deformed than the other ones? It's not a big deal. Very small detail. Okay, there we go. Moving on. All right, I'm gonna skim through here really quick so you guys are having a good conversation. Raquel mentioned I've been having a bit of a nightmare with Blender sculpting recently. The way it stores brushes is very confusing and not very intuitive. I agree. But again, I'm also a Blender snob. And then Raquel mentioned she's not in my Discord yet. I'm not sure if you can get access without paying for a month. Oh! Nah, yeah, I can just invite you. I make the rules. It's my Discord. You don't need to pay for it. Usually, yes, you pay to have access, but no, we're past that. All right, I'm putting my Discord invite in right now. Yeah, that invite link should work. And also, yeah, my cheapest subscription I think is $7 on Patreon, and that's not easy for everyone to swing. I get that. I used to have a $1 tier, but the way that Patreon had their fees and stuff, I was getting like 20 cents of that, and I was like, okay, that's not going to be worth it. I'm looking at doing some sort of like in between $3 price point. We'll see. We'll see. Or even just like I a long time ago used Ko-Fi, which is the Buy Me a Coffee, and that's not a subscription. It's a one-time thing. I think it's a lot more comfortable too. I hate subscriptions, so which is funny because like a big part of my business and livelihood is dependent on Patreon subscriptions, but I definitely hear you. I'm so glad I decided to live stream. Some mornings you wake up and I'm just like, I'm just not feeling good, you know? But I'm just sitting in a chair, like I'm good. I make sure not to push myself too hard if I'm actually sick, you know, I know how to take days off, that kind of stuff. But in college, all my jobs were very physical. So I definitely appreciate being able to like sit down and make art as a living. Like that's quite the luxury. My husband, when I was in college, he worked as a mechanic and he also worked as a car porter for Land Rover Jaguar. So he was always on his feet running around, and that was super hard if he was ever sick. Like, you really can't get any work done. But that's not the case for me. I can just kind of sit here and buckle down. I know there's like that stereotype that if you work, one second, there's a saying here. It's just like, if you're tired of working 40 hours for a week, consider working for yourself and then you can work 60 hours a week. And like, it is kind of true, but like, even though I work more hours a week than probably the average person does, I enjoy it. It's at my own pace. That's always been enjoyable too. Let's see. And the Rackle said, yeah, are you sure? That's really nice, generous. Yeah, no, I have no problem with it. It doesn't cost me anything. Anyone else is lurking, feel free to join my Discord too. You're all welcome. And the Rackle says, this doesn't want to scroll. Come on. The month-to-month Patreon grind does seem very exhausting for small teams, let alone solo artists. It's been pretty nice for me because I offer my whole backlog. I've gone months before where I only released like 2 models in a month. I had a lot of stuff going on, death in the family, like, you know, stuff happens. And I still have like made money to pay bills that month. So that was really nice. Pain Dragon says, you mentioned your assets and I'm tending to save out assets I make at the blockout stage. Yes, while still in low poly rather than when they're fully sculpted. Yes. That's how I delete them. That's how I do most of my assets that I would be comfortable with sharing. Pretty much if it's too high poly to where I can't use a Z modeler brush on it anymore, I don't want to save it as an asset. And then Sai actually mentions, buying coffee style options are far more attractive. I know I get forgetful with subscriptions, which is definitely the point for some. Yeah, it can be. I'll consider setting up buy me a coffee again. And then again, I know the whole point about it is like you guys can give donations, but I like exchanges. I have lots to provide and give, and I just think it'd be so much more fun if we could figure something out like that. And then Sai says, can I join the Discord too, please? Of course. Please join, hang out. I have a question of the day channel, which is funny because it's actually every 3 days. And I find that to be easier for everyone to vote and like have a good conversation and stuff. But my community is very well behaved and very, very kind. So come join. Patinade says, I need to sit down one day and set myself up with asset packs. You do. Maybe we can make an extra work day out of it. Well, there's mostly creators in here. Maybe I'll pick like a Friday and we'll do a asset library Friday and I can go through and chop up through my quick saves and grab some low poly stuff to put in. All right, I'm gonna start working on, I like the top of this so far. This is getting more detailed, very pretty. And now I'm thinking what other small details I'm gonna want to add. I like the idea of having like a jewel brush of some sort, maybe some anklets, bracelets. Pain Dragon. Also, you said you'll be asking me questions in the future. Not a problem at all. Oh, good. Anything you need, just let me know. Just ask. I feel the sharing of knowledge is key to the community. I love that attitude. It really gels with how I think and how I do things as well. You already know this, but you can ask me questions as well too. But that's awesome. That's very awesome. I actually do have a question if you have time. Your arm anatomy, it's so spot on. Was it just like repetition practicing? Like I know how to learn things, but it just seems like there's certain landmarks. I really struggled with like from the elbow to the wrist, like the forearm. Elbow to the wrist. That's a called forearm. I have a really hard time with that area specifically. On slender models, it's fine, but when I'm trying to like bulk up, those muscles confuse me immensely. And even like when I practice and sculpt them, I feel like it's not clicking really. So if you have any tips for forearm sculpting, even if it's just like doing 5 a day or something, like repetition to get through it, let me know. I'd like to know. And then Jason's here. Hello. I'm in the wrong side of the world to catch your stream, but I'm awake here in Sydney, 2:30 a.m. Hey, appreciate you joining. Yeah, I'm having a coffee right now. It is almost noon over here, so I guess it's a little silly for me, but I appreciate you joining the stream. I actually have quite a few people from Australia that support my work. It's like at least 20% of all of my monetary support on Patreon is from Australia, which really surprises me, so thank you. All right, I had a nice little chat. I'm still gonna chat with y'all, but I need to remind myself to do something too. Okay, we're gonna clean up some subtools. I see I have this starting to get a little too stretched out for me. I can use folders, but I don't. Oops, stop. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and merge this together because these are a bunch of little pieces, and the reason why I sculpt them this way is because they 3D print really nicely. All right, very nice. And it does not need to be 30,000 points. Let's try 10. And then Pain Dragon said, build a Purif page. Oh my God, build a Purif page of muscle shots. Oh yeah, that would be huge. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I can absolutely do that. Because you're right, I usually only have references from like one side, and then when I try to piece it together, I do not do it right. And then Batgirl said, it's 3 p.m. UK right now. Well placed for my self-employed butt. Very nice. Likewise. I didn't know you're also self-employed. Okay, so you make 3D models. If you're comfortable sharing, Batgirl, I would love to know more about what you do, because it sounds like it's kind of similar to what I do, and that's really cool. And I also wonder, Batgirl, I'm thinking, I'm like, do I know you? Because I was like, I have a couple students that this lines up. Anyway, Pain Dragon says, if my wife looked at some of my Purif pages, there would be questions. Oh yeah, no, my husband's come in before, and he's just kind of like, he's like, oh, art references? And I'm like, yes. I joke, I've tried to make this joke before in front of other people. It never lands well, but I'm like, nudity does not bother me anymore for a reason, and that is because of a lot of sculpting, a lot of references. That's all I'll say. Again, I haven't crafted the joke yet. There's a joke here, I just don't know what it is or how to word it. All right. And then Sai says, oh, you're UK too, talking to Batgirl. I thought it was just me. Yeah, I have a lot of UK people around here. And then Patinated says, well, I feel like a jerk at the Pain Dragon. Was following me on Insta and I wasn't following back. Fix that. Good. Glad we're all connecting. And then Pain Dragon says, there are lots of bodybuilder shots of them posing for competitions. Okay, that sounds very helpful. And I think bodybuilder shots is a really smart one because it's so exaggerated, right? It's pushing it kind of to the, absolutely to the extreme. And so it'd be easier to dial it back from there. And then it's, as I like to say, don't mumble when you sculpt. So that would be a really good one to practice on. Thank you. That's super, super helpful. Awesome forearms and elbows coming soon, 2025. All right, I'm still going through and tidying this up a bit. I'm gonna delete this little base mesh bra that I had because I do think this one's gonna serve my needs well. All right, looking good. And then I'm probably gonna pin some wings sooner than later because she is going to be an angel, so an angelic belly dancer. And then don't forget, she's also gonna have a sledgehammer. That's just what the Patreon request asked for. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. I'm just kidding. If someone makes a request on Patreon that I like half the elements but not the other half, I will just pick the half I like. And then Ominous Glow Games. I think you're new. Hello and welcome. I will call you Ominous. Batgirl says, oh, I'm very, very new to 3D sculpting, and my self-employment ranges from like building flat pack furniture, hanging paintings, all the way to bronze sculpture. Oh, that's right, you did bronze sculpture work. Very, very cool. Well, I wish you luck. And then also, you're new, I think it's chilling. Or you don't need all the details in a finished mini, focusing on printing, of course. It all shows up really well. I mean, even like these little details like on her eyelashes, they'll print. Rackrell says, I'll post some of my assemblage sculptural stuff in the Discord. I would love to see that. That'd be very cool. This model especially is going to be doubling for my Spicy Arts portfolio as well. So those were printed more like this tall. It's like 4 inches or so. All right, I'm gonna start working on this belt a little bit more. I remember when I first started sculpting minis, FDM printing was pretty much your only option. Resin really wasn't a thing yet. And it was normal to like, this is gonna sound like I'm giving you a hard time shilling, I'm not. I even said amazing things. Yeah, of course. But it's very on topic. And I remember I get that comment a lot of just like, hey, like, why is this so detailed? Like FDM printers don't even show it. Technology just keeps getting better and better, and I'm so glad that I put so much detail into my models, my early work around 2019, because now I'm actually able to realize that on resin printers now. And again, they're putting out new resin printers that are like 8K, 10K, all kinds of nonsense. I definitely don't need that high resolution, but I never want to limit it. And I always wonder, like, depending how technology keeps going and stuff, as of now I do 3D models, but I wonder if there's gonna be a day where you'll just have like a hologram projector on your desk and you can like just change it to whatever like figure you want. It's like a customizable desk art. I wonder, you know? And then maybe I'll be a hologram artist instead of a miniature artist, you know? All right, this is looking lovely. It really is. I'm gonna add some more of those chains, like the jewelry chains, to her ankles and to her wrists. And then Jason says, 0.2mm nozzle on a bamboo is pretty good now too, isn't it? I have a bamboo printer as of the last year, and I've just been blown away by it. I recently did a Frontiers on my Mini Factory, which is a pack of mimics. So think like your typical like chest, and then the chest mimic, which is like a monster revealed if you're not familiar with Dungeons & Dragons and just fantasy in general. I also have like a mimic outhouse. So there's like a normal outhouse, and the whole outhouse opens up into a monster. Anyway, all of the prints for that I actually did on FDM, which is crazy. I never thought we'd be doing that. Bill is here, good morning. So today, Bill, I'm working on a Angelic belly dancer, and she will have a sledgehammer as a weapon. Gosh, I'm working at such a chill pace today that ZBrush doesn't even want to crash. I like it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be finishing this one on stream. I normally do. This will be the first time I didn't finish a model on stream, but we'll be making really good progress, and then I'll come back on Monday to hang out with you guys and tell you all about Dragon Age Veilguard, and of course, finish this model. And then Rackrell just posted some stuff. I'm gonna take a quick detour to look at that. Hey, you put it in self-promotion. Look at you following the rules. Honestly, since you're not advertising like you're selling it, you don't have to put in self-promotion, but I do appreciate it. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Very cool. The bronze work is incredible, especially the deer head. If you guys are interested, join the Discord. It's in the self-promotion channel. Very cool. So you cast them in wax and sculpt the seams back. Yeah, I knew Bonnie would like that. Yo, incredible. Bonnie's really cool. He's been in the community for a long time. He's super, super nice. And then Belle says, very nice. I'm working on a Hobgoblin Warlord. Lovely. Taylor asks, will she have a bendy mark? I think so. I'm planning on it. As of now, she has this big gem right here. The bendy mark probably might be too small to see, but it kind of depends what direction like the styling of the clothes go. I think it's just gonna be like a mishmash of different cultures. We'll see. Rat Girl says, oh, and welcome, Taylor. I didn't get your big warm welcome. Always nice to see you on stream. Taylor says, the deer-headed one is resin, just gold leaves look like bronze. Yeah, this is incredible. If I'm being totally transparent, I looked at this work, and my first thought, this is a compliment, was like, I'm gonna have to Google image search these because I'm like, I was suspicious that you made these. They're so lovely and they're so diverse. That's just so awesome. And if you don't take skepticism as a compliment, like, I totally understand. That I do mean it that way though. I have a very sensitive BS alarm. But no, I totally believe you. It looks incredible. Anytime you're working on anything, please share it in Discord. I would just love to see it. And if you do have any sort of like storefront, you are welcome. That's exactly what the self-promotion channel is for. Maybe I'll make it like an arts and craft channel too, so any artist can post and share their stuff in my Discord as well. Oh, I'm gonna have these chains right here. They're jewelry chains, and I'm gonna have it so it wraps around her hands too. These little details are really what's going to make this model shine. And then Rackroll, you mentioned that you're in the UK, so I'm not really sure how like galleries work and stuff there, but the stuff that you just shared in my Discord, it would definitely be like getting your stuff in a gallery and then finding clients that way. I think would be pretty viable. I know galleries here take quite a large percentage. They take like up to 30% of the final sale, but your stuff is beautiful and definitely deserves to be on display. I'm undecided what I want the fabric here. And Rack Girl said, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you feel, yes, you're very, very, very welcome. I'm glad you focus on that and not be being like, did you do that? I am suspicious. I'm amazed at how many talented creators that my live streams have been attracting. YouTube is doing something right. It's nice when the algorithm works in your favor. Alright, I'm gonna load in some wings. I might need to sculpt new wings for this, or at least heavily pose my default wing here, because I don't want them arching up behind her. I want them like sweeping down. That's my current thought. If that fights me too much, then I won't do that. Rackpro says 30% sounds about right from what I know. Okay, cool. I'm a bit of an outsider for the fine art world though, so getting in is difficult. Getting an in is really difficult. If that's what the angle you're going for, I wish you luck. That is what your work reminds me of for sure. Oh, before I forget, I know the requester wanted a gem in her belly button as well, which I thought was a really cute detail. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I forget. My first thought was like a pear shape, but a diamond cut would probably fit better. Anything but a square, really. Yeah, it's like a giant belly button ring. I think that'd be cute. I could never get a belly button ring. It would just ick me out. You know, I think this is just looking weird. I don't like this. Just this gem, not like the rest of it. I think I'm gonna do a pear shape instead. It needs to look more intentional. Like, just the diamond cut makes it look like she has a growth on her belly button. Like, there we go. We're gonna do the pear shape. It might even look like it's just hanging from that chain, which is perfect. Okay. Now we're gonna pin those wings in. This wing base mesh is actually one that I made for my students. I have an entire video walking through how to make these wings specifically. Spoiler alert, you just make one feather and you duplicate it a bunch of times. Having the lower set wings makes her look more like a goddess, I think. Pat Nate Friend says, funny you say that. As I just started really diving into the miniature scene on YouTube, and your stream was one of the first ones that came up. Very nice. Rackross says that wing is really nice. Thank you, it's mostly accurate. I followed a reference structure because all wings have the same general structure. There's definitely some inaccuracies here, but it's pretty good. And it prints really well. I'm going to turn off perspective here. I'm going to nudge this wing to be as flat as possible. So if I grab it with the transpose line, I can do a nice like organic deformation here without it getting too skewed. I just love the idea of these like draping behind her. There we are. This kind of looks like it's attached to her forearms. Or not forearms. This arm. But it's not. It's fine. Oh, I've been curious if it's easier for you guys to see what I'm sculpting with this material or this other darker tone material. Let me know if it's easier or you guys have a preference. I really don't have a preference. Anything other than the default red, this is ZBrush's default material. I will never use this. But I'm okay with number 1 here or number 2. If you guys have a preference, just let me know. If not, I'm gonna default to number 1 right now. And then let's see. Oh, got some questions. Thank you. And then Pandragon says, do you ever add color to your favorite different subtool parts? Occasionally. I used to actually paint all my stuff on live stream. On live stream. I don't know why I said that. I used to just paint all my models in general digitally. And I kind of stopped doing it one day. I don't know why. I'm really fast at it. I could paint this one up if you guys want to see that. And then Patnade asked, that Mimic pack looks fantastic. Thank you. They're talking about my Mimics Frontier on my mini factory. And then Rackrell says, it also casts very nicely. Oh, I bet it would. Maybe, I mean, if you work from 3D files, maybe we can do some little collaboration. Taylor says, would kind of be nice if the wings were draping on the floor like a cape. Yes, that's ultimately my plan for this. I kind of have them just tucked up like this, but I love the almost like a wedding dress train idea. Okay, am I just deaf in one ear, or is there not music coming from this one? So now that I live stream, I tuck my AirPods into my desk, which means I never charge them anymore. So I'm always having one of my earbuds die during stream. Anyway. The Paint Dragon says, no, not the red wax. Yeah, no, that is the iconic ZBrush starting material. And oh, I sculpted so many of my early models with that horrible red wax. And then Rackrell says, I prefer 2, I think, but I'm colorblind, so that might be having an impact. That's totally fair. I have like no freaking preference. So, dude, it does make her look a little more like Egyptian goddessy, which I'm all for. Sai says, would love to see the painting. And then Rackrell says, if I can help with casting, would love to offer advice. Yeah, I might get into that at some point. I am excited. I'm intimidated by the prospect, but I have I have merchants that buy rights to sell 3D prints of my models, and I have one person that actually would cast it in metal. Pretty cool. I don't know if they're still doing that anymore. I need to reach out to them. Okay, as far as painting goes, there's a couple tips for painting. See if I'm gonna paint on this one. I have this, oh my gosh, what's this called? Polyskin material. So it's every matte cap in ZBrush is just the material you're looking at. So if I'm gonna try to paint on top of this, it's a little difficult because it already has color on it, like this tan. So if you're gonna paint your stuff, you're gonna wanna look for one of these base colors. I'm a big fan of Skin Shade. That's Sketch Shade. Skin Shade, where is it? Oh, also super annoying, Skin Shade is for some reason the only matte cap that will disappear from my ZBrush library occasionally. I don't know why. I don't know. There we go, this is Skin Shade. Honestly, she still looks a little green, but that's fine. And yeah, so what you do with poly paint, you don't have to use this paintbrush actually. Any of your brushes in ZBrush can also be used to add poly paint to some effect. And then Tarsicia is back. Hello. It said ZBrush's default background is also horrible. Yeah, it's like this really dark black to white practically gradient, and it's not a smooth transition. It's like a halfway horizon. If I remember correctly, the black is on top, so it looks even more goofy. Yeah. I'm feeling relaxed here, so we're gonna do a little poly painting. It would seem that I have removed her eyes without remembering. I did that earlier in the stream because I was like, I'm not gonna need that. And here I am painting. Oh, you know what? I need to paint anyway because this is gonna be a spicy model. Duh. All right, we're gonna go ahead and drop a hard save. Angel Belly Dancer. I'll give her a name later. I give names to all my Spicy Arts characters. And then I'm gonna go grab her eyeballs really quick from a different save because I did have eyeballs that were pre-painted. Painting eyeballs isn't that big of a deal, it's just a little tedious, and if I already have them done, I would like to just go grab the eyeball. And I have a couple different tips and tricks I can show y'all too. Okay, there's no eyeball here either. Where is my eyeball? No, that's a different spicy model. That was a little test to see if I could grab other models and make them spicy quickly. That one actually is a little spicy. Here we go. So this is the eyeball that I'm looking for. It has a toy texture on it. You can mix and match materials in ZBrush to get a really nice effect as well. There we go. So yeah, this is what an eyeball looks like up close and painted. There's a little shade on top of it, and you'll see why, because when you fit it into her eye, into her head, it has that natural shadow on top. It just makes it look a little more realistic. So you'll see it has a shinier material on it, and that texture is really important to make sure the model reads well, especially because I do my fancier rendering in software called Keyshot. Normally I don't fit eyeballs like this, normally they're already there, but I'm just doing this on stream because that's what I had available to me. It's kind of tricky fitting these in here. This is kind of like a fun test for me. I was curious if I could get them just to fit. Eyes are very, very sensitive, as you can see. Let's see. Tommy is here. He says, hi, very cool stuff. Hello, welcome. I think you're new as well. Sai says, that because Spicy Arts characters always get painted and M3D and don't. It's more so because when I do my promotional material, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. My promotional material for Spicy Arts, it's nicer to have those painted renders, especially because most people that print my Spicy Arts models print them really tall and they're a lot more paint friendly. Yeah, this default color scheme I have going on right here is very pretty and very angelic. The eyeballs came out really weird. I'm gonna fix them later. I like having all the white though. I think I'm gonna have green accents. Black Girl says, I always get distracted by doing silly physical comedy things when doing this stuff. The desire to make her have Awuka eyes was very strong. Oh, I know, right? Like, it's so much easier to make it look silly. And honestly, it's important to play around like that. It keeps it from getting frustrating when you're trying to get a specific look and you can't. So the way that you add material just to one color or one subtool but not the others is to click either M or MRGB. Just M will put the material on it. If you have MRGB, it will take whatever color is selected on your palette here and fill it with that as well. So I want just M because the eyes will be a separate color or material than everything else. And then now I have skin shade selected, I can actually move the light source around and get some more effects this way. I like to have one light from the top left, just like that. And then I tend to have a bottom light here as well. I'll make this a little bit darker, but I like to have a warmer light usually. Yeah, I'm glad, I think it was Sai that asked me to do like painting and lighting effects. I don't normally do this on stream, but I'm happy to share it because there is a lot of good information here as well. There we go. So this is, I'm gonna turn off all my lights, which she looks, if you haven't been looking, this is a good time to look. She looks insane. This is without lighting. This is just ambient occlusion, horrifying. This is with my main light on, and then this is with my kind of like bounce light, I can call it. Pretty, isn't it? All right, all these little chains and stuff should be made of metal. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of my different chain pieces, merge them into one subtool so I can easily add and change the color of them. I'm thinking it's going to be silver. Yeah, this does make the stream look a little more impressive having a colored model in front of me, huh? If that's more impressive for y'all, I have no problem including that. It's fun for me too. I just stopped doing it because I got really focused on like the most efficient workflow, and when I'm working by myself, there's really no reason for me to need to do it. One of the big reasons why I did it initially was because it did help me form the character, but after doing 800 plus characters, I didn't need it anymore. That being said, I do enjoy it. It is fun. Alrighty. So I'm curious if you guys are going to be, if you think I should do gold or if you think I should do silver. And not for all of her pieces, just for the jewelry pieces. Though I guess that is quite pretty the way it is. Taylor says, silver, why not diamond? Diamond would be pretty. I don't know if there's an effect in here that looks like that. This is probably the closest to diamond. That is really nice. Again, not all of her, just the metal pieces. We got a vote for gold from Bill. Yeah, I thought the gold contrasted to the warmness of her skin really well. And I guess not contrasted then, but matched the warmth of her skin really well. I actually kind of like the whole model being in gold other than her skin. I won't do that, but it is fun. Oh, in case you're wondering like what's going on with like these pixelated, not her belly button, with these pixelated pieces right here, that's because I have a base mesh underneath, I believe. Monkey's here. Hello, welcome. And then he says, just think, this time tomorrow you'll be playing the new Dragon Age. I love the enthusiasm. My husband's been sending me texts about the same thing. And yeah, it comes out at noon, so I'll be playing it for 7 minutes tomorrow this time. I'm so excited. Bracknell says, personally I love the copper colors. Yeah, I think warm is going to be the way to go. I don't mind her hair being gold. Kind of cool. Paint Dragon says, I tend to throw a basic color on subtool sets to help me read the overall piece. That makes sense. What I usually do is I just make the body, I'll fill that in one solid color. And if you drag this little thing over when none of the paints are active, it will change everything else to one other color. I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix these weird gold artifacts. I don't know what that's about. There we go. Now she is just eyeballs. This looks really impressive. I'm really happy with this. All right, I'm gonna go to skin shade. I'm gonna select the body and just click fill. That should fix that artifact that I had, unless, yeah, it fixed it. There we go. She had some like gold speckling on her chest. I don't know why that was happening. I do think it'd be cool if her fingernails were gold as well. So to do that, I can just hide the rest of the body. And her teeth, I guess? No, let's just get the way it is. She has gold teeth, but no one's gonna see that. There we go. I like the gold fingernails and toes. I'm gonna change her hair back to that skin shade color. It's a lot of gold, guys, but I think it's fun to leave for a little bit here. Because initially I said I was just going to leave it gold for the chain pieces, but I think this is fun. Especially the wings look just beautiful in gold. Right now I'm doing some adjustments on her hair, just giving it a more natural looking flow. One of my favorite painting techniques is to select the paintbrush, change it to drag rectangle instead of dots, and then I can go through, and this is kind of cool. Why it's moving the entire thing, it's because I have Z add clicked on by accident. And material. I'm not trying to paint it gold, even though that is really interesting. I mean, I could maybe add gold highlights. I also try to avoid using pure whites or pure blacks. It just makes the rest of it harder to deal with. So right now I'm adding a warmer color to her roots. And not a super strong effect, just kind of a light one. All right, that's warmed up her hair a little bit, and then what I like to do is go through and grab individual strands of hair and make them like highlight pieces. So I'll grab this one. There we go. They're just small, soft details that are nice to play around with. There are resin printers that will print in color out there. They're just very, very expensive. Who knows, maybe one day I'll own one, and then I'll probably print all my models because I can print them that way too. There we are. And then Taylor recommended gold speckled hair. That would be very, very pretty. There is like a splatter effect that I can use. And then Taylor asked, what material do you use for printing? I use resin, it's UV resin. The brand I use specifically is either Anycubic or Legu. It kind of just depends what we have a stockpile of at the time. What? Is there any more details on that? It feels weird to say resin because there's a lot of different kinds of resins. It's not epoxy, it's specifically UV sensitive 3D printing resin. Not to be confused with the dental 3D printing resin. You could use that, but it's not for what I need. Come on, select the other thing. There we go. Backrow says, I've been using Sunlu Tough. Yeah, they're great. And I'm just running a test with ABS-like. Very cool. They've been a pleasure to use when compared to Anycubic Standard. I think I use ABS-like right now as well. I used Anycubic Standard a super long time ago. It was fine. It was fine. That's all I have to say about it. Something else I'm gonna play with right now is showing you guys some render sets. Mostly because I'm running out of steam a little bit. I think I am gonna end this stream early. Man, I wish I was feeling better. I'm just a little sicky today, guys. But I'm really excited that I was able to at least hang out with y'all for a little bit and show you something. The Pain Dragon says, I had to laugh at your previous stream from the other day where you summoned husband. Yes, I might use summon husband again. I'm like, I feel ill. So yeah, this is my favorite render presets in ZBrush. This is under Lightbox. If you hit comma, go to render set, and it is right. It's like a sunbeam on a dog and a goddess running. Here we go, this one, radial overlay. I also am a big fan of preview AO, AO standing for ambient occlusion. That one's also pretty nice. It has a similar effect. But for this one, since she's so like shiny, sun goddessy, it's nice as well. Rat Girl said, I definitely derailed you a few times. That's totally okay. I'm just feeling a little under the weather, which is okay. One thing I wish is that if you do like these stamps on here, that ZBrush would render them as well, but it doesn't. Very pretty models today. Well, this is kind of fun, a different stream than my usual. Yeah, I might start painting him more in the future. I'd be totally okay with doing that. I could paint my base meshes, so, because I spend quite a bit of time painting skin. So right here, you can tell like she has blush on her cheeks and her nose and her lips, but there's a lot more subtle colors going on here as well. Fun fact, we have like color zones on our face. A lot of you guys are artists. I know you probably already know this, but like your forehead's more yellow. This stripe right here is more red and your chin is more blue. So those tones are very lightly painted on here as well. So I wouldn't want to do that every single time on stream, but if I prepped some of that work ahead of time, I'd be happy to color my models every time, no problem. And then Monkey in all caps, I'm just getting over a cold myself. Yeah, I feel that. Isn't it frustrating? I hate being sick. Patinade says, hope you feel better before tomorrow. Monkey, and apparently I have caps lock on. I felt the passion. I knew you meant caps lock either way. And yeah, honestly, Patinade, even if I'm sick tomorrow, like, just Veilguard coming out, I'll be just fine. It just means I got a really slow creative brain right now, and maybe need to eat more oatmeal and ramen and not move as much. And yeah, Patinade agrees. That sentence needed to be capitalized, Monkey. Patinade says, I have 6 kids, goodness, and the fight against cold is tough during the school season. Oh, I bet, because you guys just keep giving it to each other. Yeah, that could be a nightmare. Okay. Let's see. And then Rat Girl says, at the risk of Banhammer, I'd love to see you stream with you working on a more spicy model, maybe his Discord stream, from like, see how people sculpt nude anatomy angle. And right, I would like to show that kind of stuff too, because again, it doesn't have to just be like this secret, raunchy, you know what I mean? Like, it is artistry and it's cool, and like there's a lot of things I can share with that as well. I am interested in doing that too, but I don't want to anger the YouTube gods. I wouldn't mind doing it on a Discord stream, but the problem with Discord is it makes, in order to watch streams on Discord, you have to join a voice channel, which is like weird. And as a lurker myself, that is totally against the lurker code. If I have to silence my mic, it would just stress me out. Not for me as a streamer, but for people trying to join in, if they are lurkers like myself, I totally get that. Alrighty, guys. Hour and a half is decent. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I wish I could hang out longer. I'm just not feeling my best. You can kind of tell I got the bun head, the sweater, just bleh. Glad I have something nice to show you guys, and I will be back Monday where we'll be finishing this model. Definitely not today. I'm probably gonna get some nice hot tea and curl up in bed and be sad for a little bit. But thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you guys Monday. I stream Monday through Friday at 11 Eastern Standard Time is when I start, and I usually stream for about 3.5 hours. Let's see, what else? Oh, I sculpt models exclusively as Patreon requests. So if you want to determine what I sculpt next, you can put in a request on Patreon and I will get to that. All right, guys, I hope you guys take care. For me, my weekend starts now, I think. I'm gonna start recovering and take a very long weekend to enjoy Bellegarde. It's like a little mini vacation. So yeah, take care and I'll be back Monday. Bye.